Alright, a Mendham video. Yay. Maybe. Except, unfortunately, it's a response to this guy. The mystic who I really don't like him anymore. It's hard to keep being bludgeoned by his obnoxious arrogance and ignorance. And there's a point where you just say, geez, it's not worth it. Maybe there is nothing of value in those behind those eyes. This is just too stupid a video. So it's on economics, money, and it's such a trivial treatment of the subject. And there's lots of, you can go out on the internet and you can actually find articles that have some substance, in the sense they go into the deep ideas of perpetuating welfare, for example, and that you can't just hand people checks, and that doesn't work, and complex ideas about debt and how much debt is sustainable and how much you can carry and as an individual, and some sort of notion of converting that into a monetary system, which Halliday was talking about, the big system versus the little details of how it mechanically goes wrong. It's all one subject though, and it's so he just keeps implying that everybody else is stupid, that he's smart, that he understands that they don't, and that every conversation has always been some sort of commie versus capitalist, and that nobody has understood that both ideas taken to preposterous extreme won't work, that both of them have to have mechanisms of accountability. They have to allow the invisible hand to function, some sort of feedback mechanism to correct it when the wheel starts going unround. And he apparently just can't, he's just not smart enough to be able to elevate his conversation to something above capitalism versus communism. And he just won't let there be any conversation about anything smarter than we must have rich overlords, that they're somehow productive, which is silly, that they've somehow earned it, which is silly, and he won't even engage in those conversations. He's just, in all these years, I don't think he's ever even mentioned the word inheritance, maybe once, and understood that that's the dominant way that wealth is transferred. That has nothing to do with people going out and earning it in any sense of the word earn. And I would argue that all the billionaires don't earn it in any kind of honorable way. They earn it through insanely stupid gimmicks that are profoundly socially destructive. Bill Gates was a corrosive, horrible influence on our destiny. He didn't advance technology. He stifled it and suffocated it. And now he is the overlord of the destruction of billions of hours, man-hours of intellectual property that he has essentially destroyed by making it unfunctional on his stupid operating system. The system we were forced to build everything on top of, and then he changes it and breaks tons and decades of very good software, is now destroyed by this idiot, this fucking kook, running technology systems. It's an obscenity. And so then he mentions Bezos, this fucking fraud who started a stupid, let's ruin bookstores, okay, by selling them online cheap. And then he figured out he can't make enough money doing that. So it's like some guy opening a chocolate shop in town or something. All of a sudden he figures out, I can't sell enough chocolate. I can't make enough money. So I'm going to start selling pizzas and see if I can drive the pizzeria out of business. And then maybe I'll start selling gadgets and cell phones. And maybe I can drive the drugstore out of business too. And with all this Chinese stuff. But people don't even understand. Amazon doesn't make anything, for fuck's sake. It doesn't even make a pair of scissors. Amazon's a reseller, and resellers mean that we just pay more for the product. All Amazon's doing is what Google does. It brings eyeballs to your product at a price, a big, fat, juicy, expensive price. So instead of getting the scissors for what they should cost, we have to pay a bunch of advertisers and a bunch of marketers a huge overhead to get the product. Amazon isn't making things cheaper. Things are being made cheaper in China, and they could be distributed to us dirt cheap if we had some fucking fair system where people who have good products to sell at a good price could actually get noticed on the internet. But they can't get noticed on the internet because it's not a system that says that's a good seller, he's reliable, he ships the stuff he says he's going to make, he keeps his promises. eBay is a much better system, okay, as much as I don't like it, but it's a much better system than Amazon in terms of eBay has this whole idea that you get rated and as a seller and you're responsible for fucking people over and all that crap. And in a sense, that's a much better system. But people, Amazon has, wormed its way into commerce quicker than eBay has. And but they don't produce anything. They don't make anything. They're just resellers, for fuck's sake. And we're paying this huge overhead to have stuff resold to us. This isn't socially productive. These people haven't earned anything but fucking spit. We should be spitting on these fuckers. Anyway, and he makes them into some sort of, oh yeah, they've earned it. So he totally ignores the fact that most of the wealth held in America is held by people who inherited it. They never did a day's work in their fucking life. And he implies that somebody's smart enough to figure that out and say, that doesn't seem quite right. It doesn't seem quite fair to have this biggest game in the world, the game of survival and privilege, and we're going to make this game, unlike the Olympics or baseball or soccer, you don't have to earn it. You just inherit it. And we, people who draw that conclusion, he's going to say we're just envious. We want to just steal from the rich and be lazy. No, we want fairness. We want the people who actually do the work, who actually create the productivity, to be rewarded for doing that, not some asshole who inherited a big pile of money. I mean, that's... fuck you for implying that people who can see that that's a stupid system, inheritance is a stupid system, implying that somehow they haven't thought deep enough. No, you haven't thought deep enough, you creep. Anyway.
Yeah, it's all about 80 billion, are they? Something like that. We can say it anyway, it won't be too far wrong. And they think that, it's like them, they look on their bank statements.
So he's talking about Gates and the investment guy, whatever the hell his name is, who how much he started off with. How much did he inherit to start off with to become an investor? So again, he has no concession that some people are born with trust funds that have maybe, $100,000 or maybe $1 million in them. And we all know, anybody who has a brain and can calculate, that even a small amount of money like that under compound interest over the last 40 years could make you very rich. And then even if you just bought 5 or 6 stocks in the stock market, just diversify, that you couldn't help but make 10% a year. You couldn't help it. You just bought a hunk of, daddy gives you a bunch of New York real estate. Donald Trump, if he didn't do all his little chicanery, would have been a richer man if he just took daddy's money and collected rent and watched his real estate prices go up. He would have been richer if he did nothing at all. That's the truth. And that's the truth of our economy. The top 1% aren't Bezos and Gates and whoever. No, they're the people who inherited it. They never earned it. And again, none of these people earned anything but our fucking contempt, these billionaires. They squandered trillions of dollars on nonsense, and they finance an economy that says the only business that's going to be successful is one that's full of small print, chicanery, and bullshit. Manipulative bullshit. Fuck you, you creep. You anti-civilizationalist. You don't want civilization. You want fucking worms being whipped by a bunch of fucking maggots who inherit the whip. Fuck you.
And they say that they've got 135 Amazon tokens.
He keeps using this Amazon tokens for what's called money in the bank. So yes, and so he's making it simplest. Oh, you think that the rich people have the same thing as we have, a balance on their checkbook? Yeah, that's exactly what they do have. That's exactly right. There's no difference. So he's implying that somehow it's different. And it's no different. They have a bunch of assets, they have some liabilities, and they have a net worth. It's no more complicated than that. But he's implying it's something, no, it's not real. They're not really rich. Yeah, they are really rich. And they don't have to work, and they don't have to be productive, and they don't have to do a goddamn thing but sit on their ass, okay, and watch the system build up their market price. And let's understand these lying scum Republicans with all this fucking debt money, this fucking money system that he thinks actually works, the one, so Hothaday made a video and he's just so clueless, the monetary system. The monetary system has, they discovered, after the Nixon years, that wait a minute, Nixon had it all wrong. Debt is super cool because the great thing for the rich about debt is they get to make the money twice. So if you cut taxes and don't balance the budget, that is, have a deficit, the deficit gets bought by the rich, okay, as bonds. They capitalize the bonds by taking them to the bank basically and say, hey, look, this is my collateral. Give me some cash for this bond that I can't really do anything with. So you can hold my bond for me while I take the cash and put it in the stock market. And so they figured out, the monetary system figured out that, hey, wait a minute, deficit spending is really cool because the money goes right into the stock market. Every bit of debt that the United States of America has incurred in the last 40 years has gone directly into the stock market. That's why the stock market has gone up. That's the new money that went into the stock market. It isn't new money, it's new debt. So debt makes the rich richer. Duh! This asshole can't figure that out.
And they think that Bezos and people and Zuckerberg get a bank statement that comes in that's got huge quantities of zeros on it for the amount that they can spend down Amazon.
Yeah, that's what they have, and that's what we see in our society. We see them squander money on F-15s. They fly under our bridges and all kinds of nonsense projects and 17 homes and underground things and all kinds of crap that they've squandered tons of money on. And the rich have us all working, cutting their grass and manicuring their toenails and doing all this other shit to make us into a servant economy. This isn't a service economy. It's a servant economy. We're just slaves to the little trickle down. And this is the joke of, stupid fucking Hothaday talking about trade balances. Trade balances don't mean anything. The United States of America, if it was a real economy, if it wasn't just rich people that are running the whole fucking system, and slaves working for the rich, then it would matter that we had a trade deficit. But the key is it doesn't matter because the rich are the ones who initially invested in China. So the trade deficit meant they got richer. They're the ones selling the Chinese products. The Chinese products don't say chinka chinka chinka, product. It doesn't say Chinaman Incorporated on it. It says Sanyo or, LG, whatever that stupid life is good bullshit or something. It says some bullshit like that. The companies aren't owned by the Chinese. They're owned by the Americans. The American companies are the ones making the money selling the Chinese goods to us. They're making money on the trade deficit. They're getting richer. And so the rich get richer on the trade deficit. It's not a real economy. And the workers get poorer. And mistreated and more abused. And this asshole thinks it's a good system. This fucking piece of shit doesn't have the imagination to say we could do a hell of a lot better than this. A hell of a lot. And the most obscene thing we don't need is these fucking liability of these rich cunts, squandering trillions of dollars.
And the comparison, it's obscene. But they don't understand that they don't have that amount of Amazon tokens.
Yeah, they do. And well, look, as a practical matter, none of them can take all their money out of the stock market and get what they put into the stock market because obviously they would lower the stock prices. But frankly, they're probably all pretty well diversified. So I'm pretty sure that if what's his face anyway, the guy who doesn't own anything in particular, just a million different little companies, he could probably pull all his money out and nobody would notice it for a day or two.
we will have to go over to bed.
But I mean, obviously, Bezos can't sell all of his Amazon stock tomorrow and get the high price for it because the stock will go down as he starts selling it. So, but he's still going to get billions of dollars out of the market. So again, let's pretend he's not really rich when he really is rich. Let's pretend the tokens don't mean anything. And if the tokens go down in value, this is another joke of this whole fucking preposterously sick system, is the rich also engineered another gimmick. You know, not only did they put the Social Security Trust Fund, they spent the trust fund, the money that the fucking workers paid in advance. They paid in advance to finance the trust fund. They took their salary now and put it into the bank, so to speak, so the rich could steal it to get a tax cut, so they could invest in the stock market. And what new gimmick did they come up with? Yeah, let's take the pension money and shove that into the stock market. So now all the government pensions are in the stock market. So if it crashes, who's going to pay it? Nobody. Nobody can. There's no FDIC insurance. It's a complete lie. So now they've just to elevate the stock market, to keep it going up, they just keep finding ways of putting everybody's money into it so they get richer. And so they've bubbled the thing, insane bubble. And this asshole thinks it's sustainable, and it's a rational strategy. It's rational economic policy to play this idiotic game of let the 1% own everything. What a fucking dumbass.
Bezos now, because I've talked about Amazon. Bezos has got that amount of Amazon stock. And why is his Amazon stock
This is hilarious.
worth 80 billion? It's because this lot, the poor people...
No, the poor people. This lot, the poor people, bought stock. So again, he's so clueless. He doesn't even understand that who bought the stock? Oh, that's right, the Walmart people did. Okay, and the Rockefellers did, and the Kennedys did. The rich people bought Bezos' stock. The working man didn't buy Bezos' stock. The poor didn't do it. So he sits there and says, implies somehow the poor people bought Bezos' stock. That never happened. Amazon doesn't even make much money. Okay, it's just that there's so many people that have capitalized it over the years. They have so much venture capital at stake that they have to keep promoting it and shoving and crap into it to make it seem like it's viable and it makes sense. And all it's been is, it's just like Google. Google, all you need was a little bit money thrown in the beginning. Okay, once they figured out they had something, okay, a couple of years before they went public, I'm sure they had a meeting and they said, well, look, we're going to have to do this and this and this to get this all set up so we can really screw them, okay? But we can't screw them if there's still competition out here. We can't screw them over if there's anybody left that looks like competition. So we have to drive all of them out of business first. So we'll make it clean, we'll give it away for free, not a single ad anywhere, and then we'll snap the fucking trap. And that's all Bezos has been doing for years, is playing the same game. We will make the price so low that nobody can touch us, nobody can compete with us. We will drive every other marketing or retail company out of fucking business by losing money, essentially, and let the venture capitalists fill in the gap. And it's the same fucking strategy, because the only way it works is you finally have to kill everybody else so then you can get away with snapping the trap. A fucking idiot. And he thinks that's good business. No, that's scummy civilization. Scum civilization created by scum like you.
Have invested, and the rich people, of course, everybody has invested in his company and made it.
Everybody. It's not everybody. It's the top 5%. Nobody else. Most of the money, 95% of the money, is in the top 5%'s money. And again, they've shoved some pension money in there. Even whole countries like Finland have been stupid enough to shove their money in our stock market, to boost it up. And so what happens when it fails? What happens when it fails?
That much. It's not as though he's...
Yeah, he is. Every fucking thing he's done is a weaselly little connive. He's sitting there all the time going, how can I make more for me? More. What's the new racket? Oh yeah, I was doing this book thing, but that was kind of silly. It doesn't make any money. So now I'll do this thing, and I'll do this thing. And now he's just a reseller, for fuck's sake. A fucking reseller.
Ooh, to get the stock to go up. It's just everybody else wants a cut of his.
What a pile of crap. He didn't do any of that. Yeah, that's all that kept Amazon alive. That's all. The only thing he kept out of bankruptcy court was wheeling and dealing, making deals with venture capitalists. I mean, he doesn't even know the history of this weaselly company.
Action. So his obscenity is boosted and boosted and boosted by other people's actions. He's not doing obscene things.
Again, he's not doing obscene things. He's running a company that really doesn't make any money and basically tells retailers, if you don't come through us, we're not going to sell anything. Because yes, we've undercut everybody else. We've become the marketplace, like Google. We're the search engine. Everybody comes to us. All right. And these bad habits people have means that it's going to be really hard for anybody else to get off the ground and get rolling to cut into this bullshit. And if and Google, essentially has copyrighted the idea of an advertisement online. What, you're just so full of shit.
To make his wealth go up. It's just everybody wants a cut of him.
Everybody. Again, he uses this word, everybody's just rushing to buy stock. Oh yeah, that's right. No, they're not. It's rich people looking for a cut. Not the poor, not the little guy. They're looking for a fair deal. That's what they're looking for. Getting compensated for working for a living instead of being a fucking, Daddy did it for me. Daddy did the work for me.
It's like footballers. Coutinho yesterday.
So it's like footballers when it's absolutely nothing like football. The stock market isn't owned by players who played a good game, gold medal winners. None of these people earned any of it. They didn't earn any of their control of our economy or their ownership of our economy, and yet he complains it's like footballers. It's absolutely nothing like football. Absolutely nothing. I can't just show up to a football team and say, look, my daddy won a gold medal. He was in the Olympics. I want to be quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys because my daddy was. Where is that in football? Oh, that's right. It's not anywhere in football. So again, keep making completely irrational comparisons because you can't do any fucking logical thinking.
Was sold as a Liverpool footballer to Barcelona. Is it Coutinho's fault that Barcelona want to pay up?
And again, this has nothing to do with fault. It has to do with people having a rational brain and saying there's some kind of unfairness here. It's kind of ludicrous to give control of our civilization, our economy, the kind of businesses that we'll have to be able to choose from, give all that control to these selfish, greedy cunts of the 1% who are not thinking about civilization, don't give a shit about fairness. They just care about themselves and acquiring more control and wealth. Yeah, that's really dumb.
£140 million for him or something. Good on him for playing a good game, like Zuckerberg and Gates.
Okay, so he says Zuckerberg and Gates played a good game. Well, first I'd say they didn't play a good game. They were like the guy who won the fucking French bicycle race. They cheated. Okay, they used the steroids. They found a racket, a gimmick. Okay, Bill Gates sold us the round wheel, essentially, of technology. He's never gotten a copyright for operating systems that are the foundation for zillions of dollars worth of software. He should have never been given that right to control the fucking whole destiny of the direction of computer software. It was idiotic to give him that idiotic copyright. And what did he do, and how did he engineer his way into it, right? He figured out how to rent an operating system to IBM because they were too stupid to figure out it was a bad deal. And that's all it's about, some fucking gimmick. He made the big pile of his control is based on one gimmick thought. I'll fool IBM into thinking the thing I just bought for $150,000 is actually worth $10 trillion. And they'll only be able to rent it because they can't afford to buy it, like I just did. He snookered IBM, period. So he should be given billions and billions of dollars and decades of control over our whole fucking civilization because he figured out how to snooker an IBM executive. You think that's the kind of thing we should reward people with billions of dollars of privilege for coming up with a fucking lame idea like that?
Let's play a good game. And other people want a cut of you. So,
right, so play a good game again. Other people want a cut of you. This whole thing is like we want to attack the people who actually earned it. No, I'm attacking the Donald Trumps. I'm attacking the people, the Walmart family. I'm attacking all the cunts who never did a day's work in their motherfucking life and are walking around like you, some pompous douchebag, talking about how people need to pull their bootstraps up when they can't make enough money on their fucking job to even put money in the bank. And if they could put it in the bank, it would be useless because they have to have enough money to invest it in some shyster stock market or something where they can lose everything because of the crappy system you fucking capitalist cunts have engineered. You greedy bastards.
oh, but where's the obscenity? It's not you being obscene. If you...
Inheritance is the obscenity. How many times does it have to be said right to your fucking face? Inheritance is the obscenity. Wealth without fucking product. You're getting rewarded without producing. That's the obscenity. Uneven rewards and punishments. That's the obscenity. Hypocrisy, duplicity. That's the fucking obscenity. Pretending that there isn't such a thing as compound interest and that it makes a huge difference whether you have to work 90 years to make a little savings money for your retirement, or whether you have it on your 18th birthday, somebody just drops $100,000 in your pocket. Yeah, huge difference. Because guess what? That $100,000 in the bank for 10 years is $1 million, asshole, and you know that.
Want something to be obscene? It's something else. It's the other people all wanting a cut of you is obscene. But really,
oh, so now he's saying it's obscene for somebody to think, hey, I'm a better footballer. I'm a better everything. Why are you giving the fucking privilege to some asshole who never earned it, who's just showing up with his daddy's gold medal and saying, give me the job? And I'm an idiot because I think that's insanely unfair and stupid.
none of it's obscene, so I think that's a silly statement.
I think you're a silly fucking idiot.
It's coming from a basic, no working out understanding of...
So again, he's like, oh, we're trivially thinking. We're not as big brained as him. We haven't figured out that somehow it's perfectly analogous that the 90% of people who own stock who never worked a day in their life, that's the truth. What percentage do you think it is, Mystic? How much do you think the money in the stock market is held by somebody who actually went to work? How much? What percentage, Mystic? Do you have a number? What's your unrealistic perception of who really owns the stock market? Who the fuck? Do you think the fucking the Shah of whatever, Saudi Arabia, whatever he's called, the despot family versus the other despot family? You think these assholes did anything to earn it? Asshole? No, they didn't do shit to earn it.
What money is and what rich people are.
Rich people are scum. I mean, just motherfucking scum. If you can live on planet Earth and have billions of dollars of resources and you waste it on F-15 so you can fly it under the Golden Gate Bridge, yeah, you're a colossal motherfucking asshole if you can't find a better way to spend your money on this motherfucking planet. Coming up with some reselling racket, some fucking Facebook bullshit. All this ad crap, all this fucking overhead that just makes our life more expensive. Every fucking thing on this planet is way overpriced because most of you jackasses are in some douchebag job where you're not making the damn thing. You're just doing this promotion crap, and who can out-promote, and I can make talking scissors in our commercial, and I can have a lizard sell this shit, and I can do this. I mean, it's all fucking marketing crap. And it's all costing us. It's half the price of the fucking product. It's all these fucking assholes who don't make the damn product. You know, they're just making the competitive environment where we have to compete with them. And somehow we profit from that. We don't profit from all that waste. We don't profit when one company bankrupts another company. Nobody profits from that. We all paid for every bit of it. We paid for the building. We paid to heat it. We paid for the employees. We paid for all of that infrastructure, and it all turns to shit, and we all paid for it. It's like a submarine. It's like building submarines and then having them compete so they sink. What fucking sense would it make? Oh, let's sink half of our submarines. That'll be really clever. You're such a stupid. You're the one with the small little brain who can't figure out what waste is. You're so fucking stupid, and you got your head so far up your fucking ass that you can't figure out what the word waste is. The rich are a waste. A huge toxic waste.
And how they got to be rich. And I'm sure there's just no working out there at all.
Oh, again, so he knows how they got to be rich. He thinks they all earned it. They all went out and did something creative. They're not just sitting there showing up with daddy's gold medal like Trump. Trump earned it. When in fact he didn't earn anything but contempt. He fucking lost more money than he fucking made. You're just so full of shit.
So where was I going with this?
Yeah, you never know where you're going. You've just gotten, daughter-headed.
Yeah.
Daughtery.
From a comment yesterday, it was kind of talking about UBI and money and all that sort of stuff, and introduced the us and them. And over the last 10 years, where things have gone a bit not good, have they? I mean, there've been turmoil, bad for the poor people.
Oh, bad for the poor people, blah, 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 blah. I mean, he's just such a trivializing asshole. I mean, this has been going on for 40 years. It started with fucking Reagan, essentially. Let's just make the rich richer. Let's make the rich richer. Somehow that'll make life better on planet Earth. And how has that worked out? Oh, that's right, it hasn't. Everybody's in debt, and all these people who think they own something, you don't own shit, because guess what? You owe in debt to the rich hundreds of thousands of dollars through all of this bullshit deficit spending, which was their plan right from the start.
Not bad.
Borrow and spend. They win both ways. The spending, they make money because it says Sanyo on the thing you bought, and they're making a big cut on everything Sanyo sells. And then they make money because you did it on a credit card and they're charging you interest. So they get you both fucking ways. The scummy rich.
It's all for the rich people, they've got away with it. It's been bad, basically, for most of the populations of the Western world. And the best slogan for demonstrating has been this 1%, 99% thing. We are the
It's not the best, but anyway, yeah, they had a whole march on Wall Street, and he thinks that somehow this has to do with their cliches aren't good enough. The 1% and the 99%. You have to have the right cliche on your banners. No, the problem is there's no leadership who's rational. Donald Trump wouldn't be president if the Democratic Party hadn't glued a bunch of illegal aliens they're wearing on their suit. They're just essentially wearing a bunch of illegal aliens all over them and basically trying to be as obnoxious and stinky as smelly to anybody who's rational on planet Earth. I mean, they're basically saying, look, I have a 20% ideology. 20% of the people support what I'm selling here, illegal aliens. I mean, the only people who like illegal aliens are basically the illegal aliens. None of the native population is saying, oh yes, please, more, more, more. I mean, it's so ludicrously stupid. And so that's the reason why Donald Trump's president, is because the fucking liberals are so fucking goddamn clueless and stupid. They couldn't even figure out that nobody rational who actually goes to work every day, who doesn't have some kind of government job or doesn't have tenure, doesn't think it's a great idea to import a bunch of people to steal their fucking job and drive their wages into the toilet. I mean, it was so preposterously fucking stupid. That's the reason why the slogan doesn't work. It's because the asshole carrying that fucking banner has a bunch of illegal aliens glued to him. Shit. Of course no one's going to pay attention. Because they're going to be thinking, well, what? So you want to take the money from the 1% and give it to the fucking foreign invaders? You want to give it to the aliens? No, that's a really dumb idea. Because they're just going to make more babies with the money. I mean, fuck. And this guy thinks his wheels are turning in some sort of rational way. He understands why the money politics isn't working. The only reason why money politics isn't working is because the liberals who are selling it to us are the rich. Okay, that's the joke, right? The fucking Democrats that have been fucking governor of New Jersey have been billionaires. The Democrats. Yeah, that's right. The fucking Democratic Party has been taken over by rich fucks who are selling us out just as bad as if we voted for the fucking other cunts.
99% or something. And it's a kind of an us and them thing, and that's what came.
Yeah, it's never getting even close to us and them. What we need is pitchfork slogans.
Through on the comment. But on that 99% thing, notice how absolutely and totally fucking shit it is as a slogan.
Yeah, it's somehow shit to realize, wow, it's really dumb for us to be slaves to a tiny minority. Be slaves to the culture they wish to create, the slimy, scuzzy lie culture, the culture of small print, evasions, irresponsibility, presidents who won't even let us see their tax return, little weaselly, hiding, conniving thieves. We should give our world over to these bankers, these fucking crooks with their gimmicks and their lies. How can you advocate that, you fucking insanely turd of a person?
And this is why nothing's come of it, because it's rubbish.
You're rubbish.
It's not got enough to it.
Oh yeah, it's not got enough to it to point out simple, obvious unfairness and stupidity. Why are we letting the legacy wealthers, the Rothschilds, of 300 years ago, still pull all the fucking strings? Why are we doing that? Why are we putting the monarchs back on the fucking throne? Why?
Compare it with ban the bomb or anti-apartheid or...
Oh, I mean, what a crock of shit. Anti-apartheid. Yeah, that was a great slogan. Yeah, you're an idiot.
Equality for various types of things or peoples.
Yeah, that was a great slogan. I love that one.
You know,
equality for other things and so forth. Yeah, that was a great slogan. I remember that back in the 50s.
That's it. Stop fracking or something like that. Might not work, but you know where you are. But it's this 99%, 1%. It's been the best thing, but it's rubbish.
Yeah, it's rubbish because it just is too perfectly rational. It's perfectly sensible to understand exactly what's happening in the world. We're being fucked because we've given too much power and liberty to a bunch of lying, scummy, selfish, gluttonous pigs, defended by this piece of scum. He used to polish their penises. He used to get paid to polish their penises, and they taught him how to evade taxes, you see. So he has a little privileged prick position in his life, and he can't get over that to figure out, well, what if I was a real working man? Yeah, and I actually had to pay taxes and huge property taxes and all kinds of, and I couldn't evade them and cheat the system. What if I had to live like a real person? What a fucking piece of shit you are.
Right, my heart surgeon would definitely be in the 1%, maybe even in the 0.01%. Is he?
So he's in the 0.001%. So his heart surgeon is $1 million heart surgeon? I don't really think that's how much he gets paid. Do you think he makes $1 million a year, or $2 million, or $10 million? Because that's the 0.1%, asshole. The top 5% make about $200,000 a year. That's the top, to get to the top 5. And then that number, like the top 4%, it goes up to like 500,000. And then the top 3%, it's like 2 million. And then by the time you get to the 1, it's like you got to be making like 5 or 6 million, $10 million a year. Idiot, just to get to the first percent. And then he says 0.00%. See, this is how fucking ignorant he is. He's so he has no real facts here. He just talks this ass shit like somehow they all earned it, they all went to work, they all started in the in the cloakroom, you know, and they worked their way up, and they all proved themselves and fought a great fight. They didn't inherit a bunch of money and then find a way to capitalize it. No, that's not what they did. What a pile of shit you are.
Evil, obscene type. It's not. It seems wrong that loads of people have lots where other people are going short.
Yeah, it seems wrong, not about other people going short. It seems wrong that the people who are actually productive, who they actually sacrifice their comfort and pleasure to drag themselves to these menial and horrible jobs, are the ones that you pretend don't even exist. You just keep talking like there's poor people. No, there's underpaid people. That's the real problem. There's people who aren't getting what they deserve for the sacrifices they make for our civilization. And they're not getting it because these rich cunts are stealing it all.
But to absolutely demonstrate about that in a way that's going to get everybody on board is extremely difficult.
Yes, because assholes like you keep confusing them. This Ronald Reagan bullshit that somehow we need the rich, or that somehow the rich make money fall out of trees, or the rich are somehow instrumental in skinning the tyrannosauruses or something, like they somehow do something. They do nothing. They're huge consuming welfare pigs. They're Jabba the Hutt monsters. They just take. They don't give anything, ever.
You have to get everybody together, you have to have a one pinpoint thing, and just that they're rich and we're poor it doesn't cut it.
Yes, well, again, that's not the argument, and it's the arguments have been made. There are out there, so he's just pretending that no economics person or no philosopher has ever pointed out that the real problem, this is really just monarchy all over again, and there's some sort of psychological problem that human beings have somehow where they think kings and queens is cool, and it's people who didn't earn it having thrones and power is somehow rational, that's the way we should decide who somebody is we should look at who their parents are and say, well, if they have good parents and rich parents, they should be rich, and if they have poor parents, they should be poor, and some asshole thinks that's rational. Well, I'm saying yes, there's way too many people who think that's fucking rational, but the only reason why they do is because stupid cunts like you have preyed on their psychological weaknesses and taught them how to be assholes like you. You know, the propaganda you're preaching, this propaganda that they all earned it and they're so vital, and what would we have as a civilization without the fucking wasteful rich? Yeah, we'd have a hugely improved civilization.
Basically, for demonstrations to get anything done, so government's never going to be scared about it. Right. Poll tax in England was probably the last one that worked, but I mean,
it's just such a crock of shit, right? We just had this whole March on Wall Street thing. People are stoked to kill the rich, and the only thing that stopped it from happening was the motherfucking stupid-ass, retarded Democrats decide to stick a bunch of welfare whores and immigrants all over them and say, vote for me. That was why. No other reason. Donald Trump wouldn't have been president. It's just one issue. That's the reason why he won, was his stupid wall rhetoric. That's it. No, not complicated at all. So pretend that everybody voted for Mr. Ritchie to stay alive when it's not what they voted for, because they're just too stupid to figure out that what they did vote for was never going to happen. There ain't going to be no fucking wall. They're not going to stop immigration. None of that shit's going to happen. Instead, we got a big juicy tax cut for the rich, more evasion of taxes, more evasion of responsibility, and more debt for the goddamn working man. More debt for the average American to fucking put on his back and be liable for. That's what we got.
What else has worked? Even anti-war things don't seem to work now. Anyway, doesn't matter, but that's not it. I was thinking of us and them, the us and them. When it comes to UBI, I think this is an egregious mistake. We've had this 99 and 1% thing.
Again, they're talking about this stupid, idiotic, like this is some sort of plan. Like, oh yes, we'll have this universal unearned income. That everybody will get a handout for doing absolutely nothing, and that'll somehow make everything all right. It's not going to fix shit. It's a retarded idea. Pay people not to have kids. That's when you're starting to get smart. When we start paying people to get sterilized, that's when we got the right answer. Poor people shouldn't be raising the next generation. Let the rich people enslave their own children. That will be a good lesson. If their own kids have to go off to the gulag, that will be the world that they deserve.
It has got into the psyche of people, and they talk about it. And it looks sensible to say, as it came in a comment, that they will no chance that they'll give us UBI. And I think that's completely wrong. I think that's kind of firing off before any thinking's been done. Think about it. Them, all right, we've got us and them. This is us, and that's them. They're more politicians because we're powerful.
Yeah, they're fine with giving us an income as long as it's a debt income, as long as we have to pay it back, as long as there's somebody holding the liability, then they'll do it. If it creates a bigger deficit, great, because they'll just funnel that money into the stock market and they'll all get richer again. But obviously, again, the point is none of that's going to work in the long run, because sooner or later this bubble's going to break, and it's going to break colossally. I mean, it's not going to be poof, it's going to be bang.
This time about the rich people, because they've got power as well. Here's a question for you. Do you think that if push ever came to UBI, that they would be paying for the UBI? No, of course not. If they had to pay for the UBI, you don't get no UBI.
That's right. If they have to pay taxes, it ain't going to happen. But if we can strap you with debt, then it's going to happen. So if we can strap the worker with more fucking debt, the fucking lazy-ass rich who never went to work, if they can tax the worker some more, yeah, they'll be all for it.
That's sensible, because it would mean that Zuckerberg would have to sell over his lifetime all his shares in Facebook, and Gates the same, and Berkshire Hathaway shares of Buffett would have to go all the same, and Waltman shares would have to go all the same, and everything. They'd all have to be sold to pay for the UBI. So who's going to own? So
again, another weird and bizarre, preposterous exaggeration of reality. But yes, let's say if we did all of that. Yes, the money would be better spent by a bunch of welfare whores, because they're just going to buy basic infrastructure that we all buy. We'll all benefit from their spending. We don't benefit from some rich man hiring people to manicure his trees. No part of civilization gets more functional for that waste of money. Polishing fingernails and doing all the marbled this and imported that, especially the imported that. I mean, any rational person can figure out that, yeah, all that imported shit doesn't do any American workers any goddamn good.
All the companies, you say the government, or some no thinking things like that, and then where does the value come from? Who's going to bid up the price of them to make anybody rich so they can pay for the ongoing use? It just becomes about they will not pay.
And bidding up the price with what money? Again, they're not bidding up the price with earned income. They're bidding up the price with debt slips. Collateralized debt.
UBI. Okay, can we agree on that? It's only sensible. So, the only way, as I've said right from the beginning, you get your UBI is by some sort of invented, by them it'll be, a funny money tree that can pay for it. And because they've invented the funny money tree to pay for your UBI.
Yeah, again, so this is just his weird prognostications about some funny money tree where we should do, that this is somehow rational, that somehow a society should create debt schemes to finance things so we can pay 5 or 10 or 20 or a million times more for them. We're still paying for World War II tanks, okay? Those tanks didn't cost like, $25,000. No, they cost $58 million each.
They will get a wage rise. Simply. They're not going to pay for it. They will get a wage rise if you're getting UBI, because they're genius to run the system and to have invented this.
Yeah, so you think they're all genius and they're all clever and they're doing smart things. No, they're just stealing the soul of our civilization. They're eating it like the disgusting parasites they are. They're just feeding off of us. And you're sitting there and applauding, you sick, fucking, creepy, cruddy piece of scum.
Funny money tree to pay for it. And they get you by the balls. or by the tits, or by the pubic regions of some sort of size or description. They have got you by the fucking got yous.
Yeah, whatever. Like, any of this matters. Like I said, they got anything. All they got is a scheme that has to fail. So civilization will be pitchforks and bombs and AK-47s because of these assholes saying that's the way we're going to live. We're going to force ourselves to live in a system that can't possibly work. It will fail, and it will be us against them. Okay, it's going to be another civil war, and it's going to be ugly as fuck. And you're sitting there with your little joy face on.
They don't have. They're paying you out of a funny money system that they're running. They control you like a dangly puppet. You don't think they'd like that? They get a raise for doing it as well.
Wait till the backwoodsers figure out how they've been gamed. You know, their revenge is not going to be pretty. When they figure out that Trump, he don't really believe in Jeebus. He didn't really care about us. Wait till they figure it out.
Would love it. Imagine the control that they'd have. Yeah. You absolutely.
And what are they going to do? Buy RoboCops or something? Where are they going to hide when the shit hits the fan? They're going to be so helpless and hopeless.
Totally rely on them because they pay for your housing and your food and everything, and they've just absolutely got you. So that was the main point of this video, really.
Yes, they pay for everything out of the money they stole from you. That's simple. Bill Gates stole billions of dollars from every single computer user because he had a stupid piece of paper saying, I get to copyright the round wheel. And every time you make a wagon that has wheels on it, I get a cut. And you're not even allowed to make one without a Bill Gates Foundation under it. And when I feel like it, I can do anything I want to the standards, and all of a sudden the bumper sizes can be different, and the whole standards have to be different, and I can throw your wagon right off the road. Fuck you.
And them thing is, I think it's wrong when it comes to the UBI. They would love UBI as long as they don't have to pay for it, because they'll control it, therefore they'll control you, and they will control you tight, something chronic.
Oh, whatever. Bullshit. Just absolute bullshit. There's no controlling anything here in the sense that it's unsustainable. So if you don't have a sustainable way of getting them by the short hairs, it doesn't mean anything. So again, your stupid glee over their success is going to be when the end comes, again, it's going to be so fucking goddamn bad. And the question is just going to be who's going to win. What solution will be the right solution? The Republican solution or the working man solution? Who's going to take control when the shit hits the fan? The workers? And they're going to start building some guillotines and take care of this business. But it's going to be the same fucking thing. I mean, your fucking own country has a huge legacy of what happens when it all blows up. And you're heading right for it.
It. They would love the UBI. Against the UBI will come from us here, who will not think it fair or something like that. It's never going to be them, the 1%, capital T, them, that'll be against UBI, because the power it'll give them is phenomenal. It will always.
There's no what power again? What power do they have? There's no point in controlling welfare whores. So I don't understand why this is even power at all. What's the difference? You let them starve? They don't have cable TV and their life is tougher and blah blah blah, and somehow that control is valuable somehow. It's totally useless. There's no value in it. The fucking poor aren't any better than the fucking rich. They're just parasites on civilization. So let's not pretend that controlling the poor means something. It means nothing. I mean, the only thing it's good for is keeping them from shooting the rich. Again, you make them happy. Give them a TV and some ice cream to eat, okay, so then they don't sit there all day polishing their gun and, putting their bullet and clean their gun and, getting all their bullets in a row.
Hello. Axiom. Hello to you.
Yeah, get what you deserve, creep. Really. So the wasteland, Happy wastelanding, fuckhead. I mean, if there's going to be civilization, people have to defend the idea of it and the necessity of it. And you're just an asshole talking shit. You're not trying to protect us against the huge inefficiencies we've created, the huge, preposterous, nonsensical systems that can't possibly work. You're not trying to protect us from this failure. You're fucking gloating while you're sitting there watching it. You piece of shit. Ugh, I really hate you. So anyway, enough of a video. People are just so fucking stupid. Ugh. Scum. This planet is just covered with stupid fuckers.